Okay, so as a reminder, I would like to tell you that we are right now studying about the movement into and out of cells, but these movements are passive. Passive means that these are due to molecular movements, and we are not adding any further force into these particular kinds of movements. Why am I recapping it? Because in today's lesson we'll be talking about such a movement that would require the addition of energy. Okay, another very important thing, that both the movements that we have studied till now are from high concentration to lower concentration, or you can simply say that both of these movements are from high to low gradient, whether it is high concentration or maybe it is higher water potential to lower water potential. Whatever it is, it's basically it's basically movement from high to low. All right. So first of all, let's address these two questions: that why the turgidity is so important, or and what is the significance of it. See, in the proper wooden plants, in the proper wooden plants, the plants are supported. The stems are supported by very strong lignified cells. By very strong lignified cells. As a reminder, I would like you to tell me what is the meaning of lignification.
Lignification. So basically the meaning of lignification is the process when the plants like strengthen their body.
The plants strengthen their cell walls,
Yeah, the cell wall
and
body.
yeah, and the lignin is deposited into it. It is called as lignification. Okay, so the the wooden plants, the stems are supported by very strong lignified cells. In other words, called as wood. You know that the wood basically is made of the so it's very easy for these plants to withstand any kind of storm or any kind of catastrophic event. Very easy for them. But which are non-woody, those which are non-woody, they basically these kinds of plants, they are supported by, or in other words, you can say they maintain their posture by uh, or with the help of turgidity. Now what does this mean? Suppose that these are cells that are placed very close together. These are the cells. These are placed very close together, and but they are not pushing against each other. They are not pushing against each other. What would happen, that once they become turgid, their cell walls would be very slightly swollen, and they would be pushing against each other, causing the plant to maintain an upright posture, just like this. This is how the turgidity is going to help. So basically, It's maintaining or maintenance of upright posture is the real significance of these particular you can say turgidity phenomena, turgid cells, maintenance of upright posture. Is it clear?
Yes.
Okay, but now we'll be addressing the second situation we decided in the previous class, the behavior of animal cells with respect to osmosis. So let's see the osmosis and the cells without cell walls. Without cell walls. These are basically, this is a basically important statement that we need to address. See, till now, we have been very closely looking at the turgor pressure. And you know what is the turgor pressure? Turgor pressure can go as high as can go high up to 150 kilopascals. If you want to know how much high is 160 kilopascal, you must remember that the highest blood pressure, the normal blood pressure in our body reaches up to maximum 16 kPa. It basically means 120 millimeters of mercury. You know, 80 out of 120 out of 80. So 16 kPa is the highest blood pressure that is normal in our body. Getting it?
Yeah.
And the total pressure that the cell wall can withstand is 160 kilopascal. If you want to know, if you want to know a bit more about it, just uh, divide 150, or hang on, yes, just divide 150 with zero point 0.3. You'll be getting 500 millimeter of mercury. And hold on. Okay, no, not zero point 0.3. There is some other 16 divided by, yes, 0.13, not 0.3. 0.13. So 150 divided by 0.13, that is 1153. You can simply put it 1154. In millimeter mercury, in the unit in which we measure our blood pressure, the the total amount of pressure that the plant cell walls can withstand is 1154 millimeter of mercury. And the total amount of pressure that is considered normal in our bodies, just divide 16 kPa by 0.13, you will be getting 122 something millimeter mercury. So simply putting it, that it's a pressure that we even cannot imagine to exist in our cells, in our body. What pressure? The Turgor pressure. Getting it? The
Yeah.
Turgor pressure is so high that we cannot imagine in any human body, in any animal body. So the question is, how would the cells without cell walls going to manage it? Remember that in every animal, in every animal, the body dedicates special organs, special organs to control the amount of water. Like if I talk about human body, organs are dedicated for the to control the amount of water in our bodies. Hmm?
Okay. Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
I was asking that what organs in the animal bodies, or especially the human body, are dedicated to control the amount of water? Because we are saying that in every animal we have dedicated organs to control the amount of water, so it does not go too high
So the
or
kidneys?
too low. Yes, the kidneys. The kidneys are responsible for this kind of act. So we can simply say that these are the organs, the kidneys are the organs that are responsible for it. All right. So let's see if the if by any chance the water in your body gets too high, if by any chance it gets too high, what would happen? Suppose this is your red blood cell. This is your red blood cell, and that's the pit in the middle of the red blood cell. It if it gets too much water, if it gets too much water, then it would just be bursted, and you would see the cytoplasm leaking out. It would burst. But if it is dehydrated, if it is dehydrated or the water is removed, it would look like, if they have shown it, just look at this. It would look like this. The terminology that we will be using here is crinated. So the crenation would occur. And the crenation would simply be, obviously, it would also be, you can simply say, squeezing the cells. The cell would be squeezed and no more functional. No more functional. So that is why your body has to maintain the water. If the water is not maintained, then simply you are going to, your cells are going to burst. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Good. Next. Okay, now we have established a concept that these cells, how these cells basically are going to, how these cells are going to be behaving in the presence of too high or too low water. Now, and how the passive movements would occur. So now we are about to discuss another type of movement that is called as active transport. Active transport. What idea do you have about it? Active transport.
No idea, right?
Mm. Active transport, although can be of two types, but uh, I can simply, I can simply, I can simplify it. Every type of movement that, number one, uses energy. Number two, moves the things against concentration gradient, or simply saying from low concentration to high concentration. That is the active transport. So now simply saying the low to high movement is the one that we are going to study. It is just like, let me give you a very, very small idea about the active transport. The active transport is as same as like you are moving the water from ground to the first or second story of your house, or maybe the water tank present at the roof. So what would you have to do if you want to move the water against the gravity?
It would have to push against it, right? So
So any particular machinery we need to use?
I'm not sure what specific machinery.
Okay, so the machinery that we use to move the water is called as the water motor. The water motor. So whatever, we have to give the energy to go against the behavior of the thing. Suppose that you have a box stuffed with maybe the uh, it is stuffed with different kinds of tennis balls, and you are trying to add more and more and more. What would you have to do ultimately when you would try to close it, when you would try to seal the bag, when you would try to zip the bag, it would require energy to keep the balls stuffed inside that box or bag and seal it or zip it, right? Is that right?
Yeah,
Similarly, when you already have some things, suppose that this is a cell, a proper animal cell, and in this animal cell you may have a lot of sodium outside, a lot of sodium outside, and very small amount of sodium ions inside. What you are going to do, you still are pushing the sodium out.
yeah.
That is when you are moving it from high to low or low to high. Are we moving the sodium from low to high or high to low?
Um, well, if there's a lower concentration inside the cell, then it would be going to the higher part, right?
Yes.
So inside to outside, depending on which one
Mhm.
has lower.
Okay. So right now, what we are doing? Hold on.
Are you asking?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
So in the case that we just mentioned, what we are doing, are we moving from low to high or high to low?
So in this case, we're going from low to high.
Lower to higher. Remember, active transport would always be from lower to higher. Always be. If if by any chance they are going to move inside, they would be diffusing. From why? Because they are moving from high to low. So if they are moving from outside to inside, that would be the diffusion. But if they are moving from inside to outside, that would be the active transport. Why? Because they are moving from low to high. So there is no way the active transport would could be from high to low. It would always be from low to high. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Good. So always low to high is the active transport. Now, where does this phenomena happens? Like, how can we apply it in a real example of the in the cells of the animals or plants? For that, I would like you to give an example of the intestine. In humans, the glucose, when it is absorbed into a very special cell, and this cell is called as microvillus cell. We need to get the glucose enter into this cell, but it already has high concentration of glucose. So what do you have to do? You have to give the energy to push the glucose into the cell. That is
Okay.
what we often call as activation energy, and it happens in the animals. It happens in the animals. The second example that we can study is the plants. In the plants, the in the plants, the same phenomena occurs in the root hair cells. You know, in the root hair cells, we have many modifications. This question often comes that what are the adaptations of root hair cells? The root hair cells has like very thin cell wall, extended cytoplasm, large vacuole, large vacuole, and many mitochondria. So, in a root hair cell, in the root hair cell, obviously the water would enter. Okay, can you tell me how the water would enter into the root hair cell?
Um, would it would osmosis take place from the soil?
Yes, the water would be entering through osmosis. But when you are trying to move the electrolytes like the sodium, potassium, calcium, remember that they are already very high inside. So to push the sodium, potassium, calcium, first you would do the diffusion. Firstly, diffusion. Why would you do the diffusion first? Or for how much time would we continue the diffusion?
So you would do it before, and then you would do osmosis.
No, no, no. I'm talking about electrolyte. Remember that never mix the diffusion with osmosis. The osmosis is only for water. The electrolytes can either move from diffusion or active transport. Why the active transport would occur after the diffusion? First, you would do the diffusion for the sodium, potassium, calcium. Why?
Um, I'm not sure.
Remember that you would have to do the diffusion until there is from there is the concentration from high to there is a concentration gradient maintained from higher concentration to lower concentration. You would be doing the diffusion continuously until you no more have the higher concentration on one side and lower concentration on the other side. Now you would have to change from the diffusion to active transport. You got my point?
Yeah.
So you'd be doing diffusion, you'd be keeping on diffusion, keeping on doing the diffusion again and again and again, keep it doing until your concentration gradient has reversed now. Now the you would be moving these same ions, the ions would be same, but now you would be moving them from low to high, giving the energy. Now they are low outside and high inside. Now you would have to move them through active transport. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Is that clear?
Yes.
Good. So this is about this whole chapter, and this is about this whole all these phenomena. Okay, I would like you to revise the whole topic of today. Okay, you got the link for the Jamboard?
Um, yeah, I think so. One second, let me just double check. No, not for this one. The one that you're doing right now, I don't have the link.
Don't use the cell phone during the class.
I'm not using the cell phone. I'm trying to see if I've um, taken the notes properly.
Okay, just revise the topic. I have sent you the link, and then I'll be opening some of the questions from past papers. We'll try to do it.
I'll just read my notes and then when I finish, I'll tell you.
Yeah, sure. And after that, the today's lesson as well. So we'll be doing try to revise it properly. So we'll be doing some questions then.
Okay. Okay, I've finished reading it.
Okay. So let's do some questions from paper two. Okay. Let's see.
So, didn't we just learn that it's both for the root hair cell? Like, not for the root hair cell. Um, but active transport is in the small intestine, right? In the villus, the villi.
Yes.
So it's D, right?
Okay. Let's see. First of all, oxygen always diffuses. No organism can afford to move the oxygen with the active transport because a lot of energy would be spent. A lot of energy would be spent. Second, the see water movement through a plant by transpirational pull. The water movement also never no organism affords the movement of water because it is required in such an extent that you no organism can afford to move the water through active transport. Gases and water can never be transported through active transport. Okay,
So
let's
it's
see
just
option
D.
D. Absorption. Yes, if it's active transport, absorption of water. And always remember, the water does not absorb in the lacteals. It directly absorb but that is the topic of another you can say chapter. So it's B. Let's see what we can see over here.
Okay, so it has to have its upright posture. So I'm not sure between C or D.
Okay, why you are not sure?
I think it's D because D is maintaining its posture, right?
Okay. Okay, first of all, A is totally wrong because none of the plant cells would look like this. And the vacuole. Okay, first of all, why we are saying that the posture would be maintained? Do you think the cell would become turgid?
Um, well, yeah.
Why?
No, because when when there's water, when it's placed in water, the cells
Mhm.
expand, right? And it has to maintain its posture.
If the water potential outside is lower, then the water would never enter into the cell. It would be moving out of it, isn't it?
If the water
If the
potential
water
outside
potential
is,
lower,
yeah, so it will be going
then
out
the
there.
water. So how could you say that it would be maintaining its posture? How could you say that it would be gaining the water? Because only in that case it would be maintaining its posture or it would be turgid. Only it can be turgid in the case if it is gaining water. So how can you say it's gaining water?
So how do we make sure that the water potential outside is lower?
Read the statement again. Try understanding that why the water potential would be outside. Outside would be higher or lower.
Because it's pure water? Is that the case?
Okay, if it is pure water, then what?
The potential is lower
Oh God, I told you highest water potential would be of pure water. Highest, not lowest. Not low. There is no chance. There is not a single chance that the water potential of pure water could be lower than any of the cells. You getting it?
yeah.
What does it mean? If you are putting the cell in pure water, the outside would have higher water potential or lower water potential.
So you're saying the pure water means that it's a higher water potential. So that means that it's not A or B because the water is going inside rather than outside.
Why it could not be B? Are you saying that in B the water is moving outside?
It seems like the water is going outside because the water.
Remember, the diagram is showing the cell is burst.
Okay.
So
It
if
could
it's
be
a
B
plant,
then, and it
okay,
has
you are
the
saying.
features of a it does have features of a plant cell, so it could be B.
Could be B. All right.
But
So
they've said after it is placed in pure water. So doesn't that mean that
after,
it has already burst and now it has to expand, right?
okay, so they are saying after it. So first thing that we have established till here is that the water potential is higher outside than inside. Is that right?
Yeah.
And why we are saying that A is wrong because there is no plant cell that would look like a jigsaw puzzle or something like that. So, and the vacuole can never be this much smaller if the water potential is higher outside, because in that case the water is supposed to be moving inside, right?
Yeah.
It's supposed to be moving inside because the water potential is higher outside, so it would be moving from higher water potential to lower water potential, so from outside to inside. Okay, why not B? So you are saying that there is a possibility that the answer could be B, right?
Yeah.
The problem is the plant cell never bursts because of cell wall. It's only the animal cell that could burst, not the plant cell.
Because the cell wall is
Yes,
always.
very strong. It bears the pressure.
Okay, so
Now,
then not A, not B.
mhm,
Then the possibility with C is because the water is going inside, that's making the cell expand. But with
cell
D,
is
it's basically like just normal.
okay. What parts of the plant cell do you see in the C diagram? In the C diagram.
I see the nucleus, vacuole,
Okay. hmm
cytoplasm,
hmm
chloroplast.
No, no chloroplast. Do you see the cell wall?
Yeah, I do see the cell one.
Okay. Is the cytoplasm supposed to be continuous with the cell wall, or it is just like it is away from the cell wall in the C?
In C, it's like some part of it is joining with the cell wall.
Some part of it, and what about the other part? It
It's
has been
completely separated.
it's completely separated. It means it has been squeezed. When the cytoplasm would squeeze,
When it's losing water.
yes. So what does it mean? In the diagram C, the cell is losing water because the cytoplasm is squeezed.
So that means that
Cytoplasm,
cell is losing water.
the cell is losing water.
So
The
that means it's the
cytoplasm,
C then.
we said the cell should gain water.
Yeah, so it would be C, right?
Why
The
it could be
answer.
C?
Because you just said that D means that it's being squeezed out.
The water is being squeezed out.
Yeah,
If
because
the if in C the water is squeezed out, I'm saying in C the water is squeezed out. In B it is bursting, and in C it is being squeezed out.
so what
If it
about
is
D?
being yes, the answer is D.
Sorry, your voice is cutting. Can you say that again?
The cytoplasm is continuous. The first point of the answer D. First point to prove that the answer is D. The cytoplasm is no more squeezed. The cell wall is comparatively swollen compared to any other diagram. Number three, look at the size of the vacuole. Do you
Oh
see
yeah, yeah.
the
I noticed that
largest vacuole?
it's swollen. D is
Yes.
swollen. Okay.
Yes. So if it is gaining water, then it would be gaining its maximum size. The cell wall would be a bit swollen, and the vacuole would be maximum size. The cytoplasm can never be squeezed if the water is entering into the cell. The cytoplasm would always be squeezed if the water is getting out of it. And obviously, if the water is getting out, the vacuole size would be smaller. Just look in the sea. Is the vacuole size larger?
No.
No. It means the plant is losing water because because the vacuole is too much smaller and the cytoplasm is squeezed. That's the point. Clear?
Yeah.
So, why did we establish that the water potential outside is higher?
Because pure water always
Because pure water, highest water
it always
potential.
has highest water.
A cannot be the answer because it's not a plant cell. And second point is the vacuole has to be very large if the plant is gaining the water. And obviously, some students could answer B, but we need to remember that the plant cell can never burst. In C, the cytoplasm has to be continuous with the cell wall, and the vacuole has to be swollen if you put it in the pure water because the water move from higher to lower water potential. And the D is the answer because of the same reason. Okay, next.
Um, one is correct. Four is correct. Mm, it always transports particles into cells. Mm, So, so it would be one, two, and four. No, can't be. Not possible. It doesn't
Okay,
always
let's
transport particles, right, into cells.
okay. Which statement about transport are correct? Let's see.
So I know one and
From
four are
low to
correct.
good, good, good. Particles into the cells, and it involves protein molecule in the cell membrane. Okay, okay. One thing is just my mistake that I didn't tell you. First thing, it always transport particles into the cell. It's totally wrong. But remember that whenever you are doing the active transport, carry you have to carry those molecules. And if you are carrying those molecules, obviously you need to use the carrier proteins. So obviously the protein molecules in the cell membrane are involved. Let me show you a picture from your own book. Look at this. This carrier protein is carrying these molecules using the energy and putting them or forcing them into the cell. So it does not really necessary that it would be moving the particles into the cells always, but it always require protein molecules. Is that clear?
Yeah.
So 1, 3, and 4 are correct. Okay, so let's see how you can answer this one. Remember that mostly you need to focus on the movement of water, not the sugar molecules or salts.
Okay, so is it so that the water is moving from lower to higher
It can never
and
occur. It can never occur. The water can never move from lower to higher. It would be required active transport, and active transport does never is used for water. So water can never move from lower to higher.
So isn't it that the water is moving from uh the pure water to the region with the sugar solution?
So, what do you think? Which one would have the pure water? Which one would have the high water potential?
So what pure water has the highest water potential, right?
Yes, yes. Why the water with sugar has low water potential?
I don't know. I just know that the pure water has the highest. But
Remember, every water solution that has solute in it would
is
have
lower.
lower water potential. Comparatively, let's say there are two solutions with one with a high solute and one with low solute. Let's say one has 10 molecules of solute in water and the other solution has 3 molecules of solute in water. Which one would have higher water potential now?
The one with the lower amount of solute.
Yes, the one with the lower amount of solute would have higher water potential, and one with higher amount of solute would have lower water potential. So remember, it's always comparative. This
Okay,
term
so
is always comparative. Yes, please.
so basically, um, the volume of water is gonna decrease because it's gonna go from high water to low water potential. So
Okay,
the
let's
volume
see.
of water decreases, right? And the volume of sugar solution increases.
Let me read the question. I didn't read it till now. The diagram shows an experiment to investigate osmosis in living cells. Water is there, potato, and concentrated sugar solution. What happens to the volume of water and sugar solution after 12 hours? The volume of water would decrease, and what you are saying, the volume of sugar solution should
Increase,
increase. Okay.
and volume water
Uh,
decrease.
yes, you are right. Yes, answer is also A. Good. That's good. Let's move ahead. All right. So let's see. Okay. Remember that in production of energy, the process is called as respiration that occurs in mitochondria, and respiration can never be done without oxygen. So, if you can process this statement, you can do this question.
So we discussed that root hair cell with the nitrate ions is diffusion. So that means that if the concentration is higher inside, then it has to go outside. But what would be
Uh,
the required for the absorption of nitrite ions in the root hair cell?
Nitrate ions would initially be absorbed by diffusion until the concentration gradient is maintained. If it is not maintained, then it should be shifted to active transport.
So it would be 1, 2, and 3, right?
Let's see.
Because
What
cell
would be
wall
required?
is dead. So
hmm Yes, you are right. The mitochondria, oxygen, and membrane proteins would be required. Well done. Let's see about this.
So is the water now leaving the cell by osmosis? Because the water potential inside would be higher, right? Because it's a dilute solution outside. And the cell just has water, and pure water has high water potential.
You know that the dilute solution is the solution of salts for 5 minutes. Okay, so what's your final answer?
D.
This also leaves the cell by diffusion.
No, like leaves by the cell by osmosis. D.
Okay, this dilute solution, dilute. What is the meaning of dilute?
That it's been diluted, like it's not pure.
It's not pure, but dilute means it has comparatively less concentration of something. Suppose you have five solutions of salts, and you say number one has the number five is the diluted one compared to 4. Number 4 is the diluted one compared to 3. Number 3 is the diluted one compared to 2. And number 2 is diluted one compared to 1. So, what does it mean? It means that number 5 has the least amount of salts because it is diluted. Diluted mean lesser amount. Number 4 solution has comparatively higher amount than the 5, but it is diluted compared to other 3, compared to the first 3. So dilution means uh, you can say reducing the amount of salts, reducing the amount of something. So in that case, if you see, uh, you are putting it in the diluted solution of salts for 5 minutes. It means it has lesser salts. It has lower amount of salts. Is that clear?
Yes.
It has lower amount. So if it is higher, if it has lower amount of salts, then obviously what would be the water potential?
If it has lower amount of salts, then it should have a lower water potential.
Lower amount of salts. Salt is a solute.
Yeah, so the lower the salt, the higher the water potential.
The higher the water potential. So what do you think would happen if the water potential is higher? Would the cell gain the water or lose the water?
The cell would lose the water
Oh, the
because it would
outside
go from
solution,
high to low.
high to low, and you are saying that
Oh,
you are putting
osmosis. Oh, osmosis. Okay, never mind. Then it will be osmosis is then the opposite, right? It's not high to low.
it's
To,
higher to lower, not lower to higher. Osmosis is higher to lower. Higher water potential to lower water potential. Always. Active transport is the opposite only. Diffusion and osmosis have same principle.
wait,
They
so
would
then
be
then my doesn't my point stand then? Because the cell has water
mhm.
and the cell water is pure. So it has higher water
No,
potential
no, no.
than the
Cell
dilute
water,
solution.
cell water is never pure. Cell water is never pure. Cell solution. I told you if you want to listen the recording, please listen it. I told you that the cell water is never pure. The cell solution has a lot of solutes in it. Cell water is never pure.
So is the dilute solution then have a higher water potential?
Yes, definitely it has a higher water potential compared to the cell. If they are saying it is diluted, then it has higher water potential in compared to the cell.
Okay, so then the water would be gained.
Water would be gained by the cells, or water would be entering the cell by osmosis. Clear?
Yeah.
So I would ask you to after this class, Please go and listen back the recording of osmosis. You are missing the points. All right, so let's see now what is happening over here. Oxygen is required for respiration, and respiration is required for energy. That's the hint to this question.
Sorry, oxygen is needed for what did you just say?
Respiration.
And
And
glucose needed for
respiration,
photosynthesis.
no. Hold on. Oxygen and glucose are required for respiration, and respiration is required for energy.
I don't understand this question.
Okay, no worries. I'll be telling you about this question later. No worries. Let's do this one.
So when the plant cell is put into pure water, the
Hmm.
plant cell gains water
Good.
and becomes turgid.
That's good.
So B.
Hmm. Okay. Changes according. Okay, no, leave it. Let's talk about this one.
So when they say down or against the concentration gradient, so what do they mean by that? Down
Down,
or against?
down, down means from higher to lower. Three words are synonymous. Please listen carefully. Towards concentration gradient means, okay, let me rephrase my sentence. Towards concentration gradient, along concentration gradient, down the concentration gradient. These all mean higher to lower.
Okay.
Towards, along, and down. And the two phrases have are synonymous. One, against concentration gradient. Two, up the concentration gradient. Both mean low to high.
And then against is the opposite, right? Low to high.
Low to high, exactly.
Okay. Okay, so what it seems like is it's against, it's going from low to high,
Hmm.
Um, Fat or protein? So a protein molecule would use glucose for energy then, right?
It can use the glucose for energy, or it can transport the glucose.
So D.
Both can be done. Yes, D. Very good. Okay, last question.
Okay, so the water has higher water potential than the sugar solution.
Hmm.
We can assume, right, that the water is pure.
Yeah, we can assume if the hint is if the hint is given, or if only the water is written, then you can assume.
Okay, so that means higher water potential. So the level of the liquid in the glass goes down because
Hmm.
the water had a higher water potential. So
Okay,
B.
good. Well done. Okay, so for the task for the next class, first I would try to send you the video link for the osmosis topic. Try to do that. That would be extremely necessary because I am seeing that you are basically uh, lacking in some of the concepts, especially the osmosis. Uh, second, Secondly, we'd be doing a worksheet in the next class,
Okay.
and the worksheet is going to be a lot about the experimental things. Remember, that is the main thing. That worksheet is actually about many experimental things, especially the movement of water from inside the potato strip to outside. Let's say the water sorry, from higher to lower water potential. Potato strips are used